That's it, Andy. We are live again.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, mate. Good to see you.
And you.
So, we haven't done one of these since January.
No, quite a long time.
Yeah, I think it was the end of January when we last did a live event. So, for the viewers, let's tell them why that is. I took February and most of March off because I had my gallbladder out, as a lot of people know. That was an interesting experience. It was a lot easier than I thought it was, and it was also a lot worse than I thought it was. But that's me. That's why I was there. But I'm feeling great now. I'd like to say I can eat absolutely anything, but I'm sticking to a low-fat diet still. I'm taking it very careful. So I haven't gone for the triple burger, bacon cheeseburgers yet. I haven't got to that point yet. So what about you, Andy? Why were you not available in March? You were doing something, weren't you?
Yeah, we went on a fantastic holiday. We were away for 6 weeks, went to Singapore, New Zealand, and Malaysia. So just got back and getting back into the swing of things again.
Andy, I get the impression that you're always on holiday.
Yeah, I'll go on holiday for fair amount.
How many holidays do you have in a year?
How many holidays do I have?
Yeah. How many holidays do you have in a year?
We have about 4 or 5 sort of what we call big holidays, and of course we've got our flats down the coast that we go down to. We spend 3 or 4 days, well, probably about 6 days a month, 7 days a month down there. Just been down there for 4 days, actually enjoying the sun, swimming in the sea at this time of year.
You live a freedom retirement lifestyle, Andy. That is definitely the case. How many weeks are we talking about?
Probably about 25, 26 weeks a year, including the stuff down in Portsmouth.
Wow. And you work as well, don't you? You're not entirely a man of leisure. You do a little bit of work as well.
Yeah, I do stuff as well. I do this for you, and I do. I also do. I'm a trustee for a local charity. I run a group for retired men in Woking Library once a month, which is going from strength to strength. Been doing that for about 2.5 years. So keeps me busy.
And you're a qualified coach as well?
I'm a qualified coach, yeah. I trained to be a coach about 5-6 years ago. So occasionally I coach, not as much as I used to, but I still enjoy it.
You still enjoy it, but it's still there.
So what do you do with all your time, Nick?
I make YouTube videos, Andy. No, I mean, honestly, I think most of my time, I'm a bit more of a home bird than you. I know you said before we came on live that you were a home bird, but I'm a proper home bird. I like being at home. I get about, 6 to 8 weeks holidays a year. I don't have a flat to go to, so for me, it's going away somewhere like Portugal, Scotland, those kind of places. But over the last few years, I haven't done much at all because of the gallbladder problem. It curtailed my movements a little bit because I got to the point where it didn't matter what I ate, I was in pain. So so I didn't want to go on holiday. So I was just happy to be at home. But that's all going to change now that this sucker has gone. I'm gonna start enjoying myself, Andy. I'm going to start enjoying myself.
That's what you should do.
Yeah, not that I'm not. Anyway, let's get into business. So I can see we've got a few viewers. So welcome everyone. Glad you're here. What we wanted to talk about today is retirement, and if you're nearing retirement or you've just retirement, that big question about what next. What are you going to do with yourself? We've just been talking about Andy and his 26 weeks and all the things he does. And that's an example of, what you can do next. And then there's me with a YouTube channel and 6 to 8 weeks holiday a year. Everybody's different. But the reality is that retirement has to be planned, prepared for, personalized. There's a lot going on. And what Andy and I have noticed is this, that even though retirement is supposed to be a reward for all that hard effort of the last 40 years for some people, or 20 odd years in my case, it often doesn't feel that way. There isn't a feeling of freedom. People feel lost. And I certainly fell into that category for quite a long time. So today we wanted to walk you through 5 key shifts that we made that enabled us to put that right and to live a more purposeful and enjoyable retirement. What about you, Andy? What are your thoughts on that topic?
yeah, not dissimilar, Nick. I spent a long time working, and you know, it took me a long time to work out what I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it. And this is just us really sitting down and thinking, well, it shouldn't take as long as it did. Shouldn't take people a long time to get there.
How long did it take you?
Probably took me about 10, 12 years. It depends when you say I retired. So I retired from my full-time job, and then I did bits, some of which were full-time, but I didn't consider them to be a job. It was sort of more trying to do something to help.
Yeah.
But it probably took me 10, 12 years. How about you?
Yeah, similar. I mean, I would say at least that. Yeah, at least that. The big mistake I made, I think, is that I didn't really plan for it. It was a knee-jerk reaction, and so therefore I was having to find my way. I mean, I've done a lot of videos on this topic. That if I could go back and talk to myself, I'd have sought some help with what I was going to do and that kind of thing. I mean, you and I have talked a lot about this topic. I mean, I've made videos on it, but some of the symptoms that I experienced and you experienced that were common to us were boredom, loss of meaning, no rhythm or routine, social disconnection, low motivation, and even depression. I mean, I might have been depressed. I call it black dog. I think I might have been depressed. I wasn't clinically clinically depressed in the sense of diagnosed, but I probably was. And you felt those things as well, didn't you, Andy?
Yeah, I did. I felt a sort of sense of loss, I suppose, and or I felt lost, and I felt a bit rudderless, a bit restless. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something, but it couldn't really articulate or work out what it was I wanted to do. Well, I did try a whole load of things, talk to people, and no one seemed to have any idea of, they give you lots of jobs or voluntary activities or hobbies or things that you can do without anything behind it, without any purpose or without really understanding you. So
yeah. And did you seek any professional help for this phase of your life?
Not really.
No. And neither did I. And the thing that baffles me about that, from my point of view, is that when I had a small business and I did seek professional help with that. I mean, I had accountants and lawyers, I had business coaches, I joined peer groups. I was looking, there were lots of things that I did to help me with that phase of my life. But when I retired, nothing. I didn't do anything. I didn't seek any help at all. Yeah. The one thing I wanted to say, Andy, is that, the feelings that you and I have just described that we both shared, they are very common, aren't they? And it's not the person's fault. I mean, if you're feeling this, if you're a viewer and you have these feelings that we've described, it's not your fault. It's pretty normal. It's very common. And the whole idea behind today's live event is that we can show you what else is possible and how you can overcome these feelings and do something about it. Which I think segues in quite nicely to introducing the 5 pillars that we've based our own transformation on. Over to you, Andy.
Okay, so the 5 pillars that we've talked about, they're if you download our guide, which you can get from our website, you could, there's perception, purpose, preparation, proactivity, and perseverance. It's a framework which guides you through getting the right purpose, I suppose, is the best way to do it. So if I take you through each one of these, and Nick and I will share some insights that we've had about why it's important to us. The first one is perception. So perception is about becoming aware of how you're experiencing your life and recognizing where you are. It's really getting to understand yourself, the perception of yourself. You might have been successful on paper, but you feel stuck, as we've talked, or tired, or discontented, or there's a whole load of things, just stuck in a loop. for me, it was around the fact that I didn't really understand myself, and I didn't really understand about the things that really drove me and the things that were important to me. And the perception of me was more sort of to do with the job that I had. So I still regarded myself as a CEO. I still regarded myself as someone who should be doing something important and whatever. And that wasn't the case. So you have to get really honest about who you are and what drives you. What about you, Nick? The perception?
Yeah, very valid. I think same as you on identity. I wrote that one down. I still thought of myself as an entrepreneur, business leader, that sort of thing, because that's what I was. But I wasn't that anymore. In reality, I was having some time out. I wasn't that anymore. But my identity was still closely linked to it. And I think the other thing with regards to perception is that I didn't give serious thought to the types of things that would suit my personality.
Right.
My personality is that I'm an introvert. That doesn't mean I'm socially shy or anything like that. I mean, I'm doing this now, for example. It's not that type of introversion where you lock yourself away and don't do anything. You prefer small groups of people. You don't like large, groups. You don't get energy from large groups of social situations. You don't get energy from that. They actually drain you. And I didn't really give a lot of thought to what would be good for my personality in that next stage of my life. Because I think you've got a thing that you introduced to me, and as part of our program, is that know your why, isn't it?
Yeah.
And part of that is identifying your personality traits and the things that you might enjoy doing. So, for example, if you're a raging introvert who doesn't like people and doesn't like one-to-one presentation, then don't become a salesman, just for the sake of argument. Yeah. Or you don't like large groups of people, then don't go to lots of conferences with loads of people at them.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, Nick, is that it's really important with the perception that you work with other people.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to be honest about yourself and about what you really like. It's really good to talk to someone else because other people ask you the very hard questions.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, and that's part of what we try and address. So why don't we use the chat? So if people who are there at the moment, if you want to share, what one word describes where you are today?
That's time for them to have a bit of a think. Give them a few seconds to think about that, Andy.
Yeah. I mean, come up with something, and that would be really useful. It's just very useful to share.
No, take it. Oh, hang on. We do have one. We've got a comment. Let's have a look. Lonely. Oh, yeah.
Nigel, do you know what, Nigel? That's a comment that I hear a lot from people I speak to, because there's lots and lots of all your network disappears. So the minute, and we will talk about that. So
yeah, spot on, Nigel. I was lonely, even though I had my wife, had my son, had one or two friends. I was lonely. Definitely, that's a very, very valid point.
Yeah.
And then Tronaldino, good to see you back in the live again. Rush hour of life, Andy.
Not sure what that means.
Well, one thing I can guarantee you is that after you've retired and you've gone through the process that we've gone through, it's not a rush hour anymore. But before then, yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying. Are you still working, Tronaldino? Are you still at work? Because if you are, I can understand what you mean by the rush hour of life. My life was a rush hour until the sudden stop.
Yeah.
Alan's lost.
Yeah, I resonate with that. It's really weird, and feel lost, and you actually don't want to tell anybody that you don't want to admit to anybody that you feel lost.
Yeah, absolutely. And is that a man thing, Andy? Men don't like to talk about their feelings.
I think it is.
I know I didn't. I was a bit, bottled it all up, kept it to myself.
Well, the group that I run once a month locally, it's for retired professional men, and it is for men. Most of them felt that said they felt lonely or lost, or they needed some purpose or some network to talk to.
Yeah.
The incredible thing is that all of them, apart from two, were told to go there by their partners or their wives.
Yeah.
It wasn't something they did off their own back because they didn't want to ask for help.
Yeah. Ronaldino's given us a bit of background. Yeah, mid-40s with kids and elderly parents. Yeah, I did a video. My latest video talked about. I'm part of the boomer generation, but I call it the sandwich generation. We're like the filling between kids at the bottom and aging elderly parents at the top. A sandwich filling, and our elderly parents didn't have that. At least mine didn't, because of life expectancy. We're the sandwich generation, Ronaldino.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick look. Biker outside the box, retired but not enough funding.
Yeah,
what do you mean by funding? Do you mean personal funding? Your own cash for spending? Just clarify that. Or are you on about government funding for things to do with retirees? Are we talking about your own dosh, or government dosh? Perhaps you could clarify that. Stuart says he's feeling grateful. Yeah, good. I am feeling grateful now, Stuart, but I won't lie. I wasn't feeling that grateful when my business career came to a full stop. It took me a while. Not that long, actually. A few years, though. But yeah, it's good to hear that you are. So, Andy, that was some interesting feedback.
Yeah, that's good. So if we move on to the next one, because I know that we want to try and go through all the pillars here. The second pillar is purpose. So once you found out the perception of what it is you want to do, then it's trying to work. What you're like. So how you are and what sort of environment you like to be in, and what sort of person you are. It's then trying to find out what your purpose is. So it's what you're going to do to be fulfilled. It's asking yourself about what energizes me, what makes me leap out of bed in the morning, what legacy do I want to leave, what am I no longer willing to tolerate. Nick's talked about a lot of these in his videos.
I have, Andy. You're right.
But for me, it was I tried a whole load of different things. I tried running small businesses. I enjoyed it, but there was always something missing. It just wasn't right. It just didn't feel right. I didn't feel fulfilled like it the way that I had done before with my career and the way I expected to when I started doing something else. So this is really starting to put some meat on the bones in terms of what it is you want to do. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, well, I think you and I mirror our experiences in this, don't we? In terms of purpose. I think maybe because we both came from some sort of corporate business background, albeit very different. I ran a small business, you ran a conglomerate. Those sort of things, that did give me a sense of purpose. I mean, I won't lie, that my identity, my purpose was 100% linked to that. So when that ended, it's about finding a new purpose. The obvious purpose was that I had a small child and I wanted to be a good father, and yes, that definitely gave me purpose. I won't lie, that was a good purpose, but I felt like I needed something else. I felt like I had a lot of knowledge that I'd built up over a period of time, and I didn't want that knowledge to go to waste. I just felt I needed an outlet to release that knowledge to give me some kind of purpose. And I don't think a purpose has to be some grand thing. I don't think, you want to reinvent the wheel or, open 100 orphanages across the world or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be some grand purpose. It's a personal thing. So yeah, that's how I felt about that. I just want to use my knowledge and my experience in a fulfilling way.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. So, the second part really is about discovering what it is you want to do and getting ideas and talking to people around the sort of things and investigating based on what you want to do. I think the thing that both Nick and I did is we did all this in the wrong order. So we just tried stuff based on what we thought we should do rather than actually analysing it first, and that's why it took us so long. So
and one question to throw in there, Andy, as part of this is what part work will play in this.
Yeah.
One question I think you have to ask yourself is, do you want to continue to work in some fashion? It doesn't have to be full time doing what you were doing before. But do you want to work? Is that part of this? And certainly, when we talk to people and work with people, that is my number one question. Right, where does work fit in? Are you still wanting to work?
Yes.
Do you still need to work financially? Is the pot of money enough that you can just stop working, or have you got to continue to work? Do you need income to make this successful?
Yeah. No, I agree. So we talked a bit about purpose. So we've done the first two bits, which will be the first two sections of our program. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But it's be good to hear your thoughts on that. So what's landing with you right now? Has something shifted or sparked a question in your head? If there is, then pop it into the chat. Is there some curiosity or maybe discomfort but I think for us, for Nick and I, the journey is much richer when you travel it together. So we've accelerated each other by traveling this journey together. But it also helps inspire and support other people as well. So anything that anyone's thinking at the moment, that would be, if you want to add anything to the chat, that would be excellent.
If I hadn't met you, Andy, I can genuinely say this, I would not have gone on YouTube and had a YouTube channel. That is the truth of it. I'd have probably still been drifting along, trying to figure it out. But by getting to know you, it accelerated the speed at which I figured it out. And obviously the figuring it out for me was I decided, right, I've got all this experience from the last 10, 15 years, of retirement and career breaks and that. I wanted to share that. And also try and ram home the message. The number one message that I try to ram home is that the clock is ticking. You might be lucky and get lots of really healthy years ahead of you. You really might, or you might be one of the unlucky ones. So why take the chance?
Well, and that's so true. A friend of mine's he's been ill for a while, but he's got a problem with his lungs. He's just been back from analysis. He's lost another 10% of his capacity in his lungs. And he's actually finally listened to the advice he's getting from the doctor and things that I've said. Stop working and do the things you want to do because you haven't got a lot of time left. I think he's 66. So, I think it's really important that you look at you look at what it is you're trying to do and what do you want to do? What haven't you achieved yet, and how are you going to get there? And there's not a finite amount of time or infinite amount of time. There's a finite amount of time. Yeah.
Tronaldinho's thrown up a comment here, Andy. How to make the move to retire with one more year syndrome? One more year. It'll be better next year. I'll wait until next year.
Do you know what? I mean, you and I both hit retirement. It wasn't planned. For me, it wasn't my choice. And it's surprising how liberating that can be. You realise that you don't have to do one more year, or why are you doing one more year? Because you think if you turn the money stream off, or what happens? It's not that bad.
Yeah.
And actually, you need that sort of jerk. You need to actually just say, no, I'm stopping. I'm gonna work this out. I'm gonna do it my way.
But you can't just stop, can you, Andy? Like I did. You've got to. Which will come on to some of the things you're going to talk about in a minute. You can't just stop.
No.
There's another question. Nigel says it sounds like the way I feel is not unusual. No, it's not. And it's not, Nigel. It's not unusual. In fact, it's perfectly normal, very common. There are a lot of people won't say this, and particularly men, but they a lot of them stay at work long after they need to. They don't need the money. There's nothing to do with it. It's all the other things that goes with it. The social interaction, the identity. If they're like Andy, they just get power crazed. Crazy with power, being the CEO of a conglomerate. Power mad Andy. But that's life, isn't it? There you go, Andy.
I think you're more power mad than I am.
No, I wasn't power mad. I was a control freak. There's a difference.
Is there?
Yeah, I didn't want power. I was never motivated by that. I didn't like people controlling me, but then the flip side of that was I then started becoming very controlling. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Oh well. Right. So once we go through stage 2, then it's really about preparation. So you've now got a better understanding of yourself, and you've got an idea of the type of things you want to do. So the next thing you need to think about is building a roadmap. It's preparation. It's setting yourself clear, meaningful goals. It's breaking those into manageable steps. It's thinking to yourself, what do I want to accomplish in the next 5 years? What resources do I need? And if you've got a well thought out plan, it transforms into actionable steps. Now, I'm probably the worst person to talk about planning in advance. So I tend to try and do things. I've sort of got a very high level plan, but I go along it. But I think here you need to have a good, solid plan in place. And I think you're better placed to talk about preparation than I am, to be honest.
Oh, it's very kind of you to drop me in it, Andy. Yeah. Well, look, if you've gone through, as I see, you go through steps 1 and 2, perception and purpose, and at the end of that point, you should have an idea in your mind as to what your destination is. So you know where you want to go. So then it's a case of you've decided where you want to go. You wouldn't go on a journey without some kind of roadmap and some kind of plan. I mean, at the moment, I'm planning a road trip to Portugal. So I know where I'm going. I'm going to, the Algarve. I'm going to drive to Valdelobo, and I'm having to make a plan. What will I need? How am I going to get there? I'm going to drive there. I'm going to catch the ferry. What about overnight accommodation? Do I need to stay places? So along the journey, there are decisions that have to be made about things, and it's exactly the same in my view with regards to your retirement. That you have to make plans, and you have to have milestones along the way. Just little milestones. Decide what is the vehicle that is going to get you to your end journey. That's how I see it, Andy, from the point of view of planning and preparation. Now, I'm a little bit different to you now, in that I don't have a big plan. I don't plan beyond 12 months.
Yeah.
I used to do. I won't lie. I had a 5-5-5 thing. It was like, a 5-year plan, with, 5 goals attached to the plan and 5 objectives each year, and 5 objectives for the quarter, and 5 objectives for the month, and 5 objectives for the week, and 5 tasks that had to be done today. Honestly, why bother? One of the things I've learned from you is this: to, as long as you've got a rough plan for the 12 months, you know what you're going to do, what you're trying to do. There are tasks that will have to be dealt with along the way. But if you don't feel like it tomorrow, if you're just not feeling it, I mean, for example, it's 25 degrees out there and sunny. I mean, you might decide today you're just going to do nothing. Just going to go and drink some beer and by the river.
Well, this week we were planning to go down to the flat for Saturday, so Sunday and Monday. But the weather forecast and thought, no, I'm going to be down by the sea for another 2 days, and it allows you, if you've got the flexibility to do that, it allows you to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the key thing about planning, though, Nick, that we talked about is it's do I know where I want to go?
Yep.
And how I think I'm going to get there. It may change on the way, but at least I know where I am.
Yep.
And you can also measure your progress against it. So you can say, am I still on track to do what it is? Maybe your plan changes. Maybe you get halfway through it, and you go, you know what? I really don't want to do this. which is fine. But unless you've got a plan, you actually don't know whether you're on track, off track, whether it's something you want to do, whether it's satisfying all the goals or all the things that you said you wanted to achieve.
Yeah, exactly. And the resources that you need for that plan. I mean, one of the things that I'll discuss when we get into the program itself with the people who come onto our program is there are a series of questions that I'll ask people, to get to that point so they can put their plan together. Yeah.
Okay. So if we move now from preparation to proactivity. So proactivity, it's actually taking that plan. You've got a plan, you've got something in place, and you move into action. So start with small steps. Think about the things you need to do. Attend workshops. Reach out to mentors. I do think that one of the biggest things of a plan, to be honest, Nick, and something we've talked about, is that's having someone as a mentor, someone that you can rely on to help you, and to ask you the hard questions. I think that's the thing that we've helped each other with. We ask each other hard questions, which, you sort of sit there and go, oh, that's a bit harsh, but actually it's fair. And set daily intentions. So as you're building through this, it's actually trying to work out what it is you're trying to do. But it's about being flexible. It's about refining as you're going on. It's also about celebrating small wins. So your YouTube thing is a massive example of that, in terms of you had a plan and then the proactivity. And I don't know whether you want to talk a bit about that, mate.
Yeah, well, I think on the proactive thing, I think it's well nigh impossible to execute your plan on your own. Just you on your own. Well nigh impossible.
Yep.
There's always going to be. You need people around you in some fashion. Whatever you either pay for those people to be part of your team, or you've got family members who are part of your team, or your friends who are part of your team. But you need a team. A team of one, I think, is well nigh impossible.
Yeah.
But in terms of proactivity, once you've decided what you want to do, then it is just a case of executing it, executing your plan. And I don't want to get ahead of you on this one, Andy, because the next one, I nearly drifted into the next pillar then. But you've just got to get up and do it.
Yes.
One of my weaknesses historically was procrastination. And I found it very invaluable to stop procrastinating. Just perfectionism was another thing, which a terrible weakness. Perfectionism. 80% is good enough. Don't overthink it. Just get on with it.
Yeah, I mean, this one, overcoming obstacles. So it's fear of failure. Well, if it fails, it's fine, but you learn from it. Resistance to change. So you're doing something new. So you're a bit worried of perfectionism. You talked about lack of support. And it's progress is more important than perfection. It really is. We'll never get there. We'll never get to perfection. But I do think that the proactive piece is so important, and it sort of leads us on nicely into the last piece, which is perseverance. So perseverance is really, it's about resilience. It's about maintaining your commitment even when challenges come up. It's understanding setbacks are part of the journey. And it's staying focused on your goals and being able to be adaptable in your approach. So, my own thing, I never gave up. I tried lots of different things. I tried it in different ways. I tried doing things that I thought I would like, and if I didn't like it, I probably gave up. I think I gave up before you in the experience where we met together.
But that was you actually made the correct decision there, though. I got sucked into a thing called sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah.
Where you've put so much time and effort into it and money that you're not prepared to walk away from it and realize it's failed. You just it'll be better tomorrow. But but I think it's important to know when to quit sometimes. Even though this is the opposite of perseverance to some extent, sometimes you've got to quit and try something else. Yeah, but we'll obviously help you get your brain around the right thing so that you've chosen something that you're not going to have to quit on.
But even if you do, it's staying motivated. It's keeping your end goal in mind. So it's not, it's the means to an end. So if you're doing something to try and achieve some fulfillment, but it's not making you feel fulfilled, stop it. Why the hell are you doing it? And that's not a problem. You then go back and you look at the factors that drove you into that and go, well, actually, I don't like doing this. It might identify something else that, I think one of the podcasts, one of the YouTube things that you did, Nick, actually talked about things you stopped doing or things that you don't do anymore.
Yeah, and that was a very popular video, and that was only 5 things. I mean, there's probably about 20. I mean, I've probably got I didn't want to overdo it, but I've probably got part 2, part 3, and part 4 of that video still to shoot. But when 5 more things I don't do after 60.
Yeah, But yeah, it's keeping your momentum going. It's keeping going, keeping doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So, they're the 5 stages. So if I bring it all back together, so the first one is about self-awareness. It's about understanding yourself. It's about what you're doing. The second one is defining your why. How are you going to be fulfilled? Why are you there? What is it you're going to do? Then planning your path, putting the roadmap in place, then taking action, then staying the course. I'm convinced if I'd have done that, it would have taken me 10 or 12 years to get to the point where I was doing things that I wanted to do and felt comfortable doing it. I don't know about you, Nick. I think it's probably the same, isn't it?
Andy, I could have done with a guide.
Yeah.
I could have done more than one guide to help me climb the mountain.
Yeah.
It was a very hard climb, and was I even on the right mountain? But the reality is, trying to do it on my own meant it dragged on and on and on. And I reckon it was probably only the last couple of years where it's kind of finally come together. So I'm being honest and saying it probably took me until 62 years of age.
Really?
Before it all finally clicked and I started to, feel as though I was on the correct mountain. Yeah, I was on the correct mountain. And obviously you've been my guide. You've been a helpful guide. It's good to have a professional coach as a mate. It really is.
I could put up with you, Nick.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what I'm like? I'm a risk taker. I like to try things.
That's true.
Yes. So that's the flip side of it. But yeah, finding that I could have done with a guide, could have done with some Sherpas to help me along.
Yeah. So that's really what we're going to do. So the purpose of talking today really is about joining the accelerator that we're doing. So do we want to talk a little bit about the session and what we're planning, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about this in previous lives, and it's been something that Andy and I have been working on for some time. Obviously, real life got in the way, gallbladders, trips to New Zealand, got in the way, and we're wanting to be your guide on the journey, but in a much more hands-on, interactive way. I'm already guiding you to some extent through the YouTube channel, through my videos, and that's great. If that's all you need, good for you. But what we're offering now is we're offering the opportunity to actually work with us to get your retirement accelerated, get things sorted. We want to help you figure it out. That's it in a nutshell. So specifics, Andy, what are the specifics about how we're going to do it?
Well, the specifics are, so what we're going to do is, as it says there, we're going to have 5 live sessions. The first one, the important thing is to understand yourself. So the first one will be about productivity. It's about understanding yourself. It's about understanding yourself better. So the first one's about perception of yourself. then and in that, what we'll do is we'll give you some work to do beforehand. So all of this, or each one of the sessions will be a small cohort. There's the potential of personal mentoring with there as well. So we've got some options for that if you want coaching as well, so one-to-one coaching. But Nick and I both retired, so we're only going to offer 10 slots for one-to-one coaching here because we have other things to do that we want to do. But it's going to be cohort, which will be together. Now, that first session, we will give you tools beforehand for you to prepare. We'll ask you to send that information to us before the first session so that we can see what the output is, and then we'll talk about it. Then we'll prepare you for the second session, which will be purpose. And the second session will talk then around, we'll give you some workbooks, some things to do, some things that you can go away and think about in terms of ideas of what it is you want to do, how you want to be fulfilled. And then we'll come back and talk about it in the group, in the cohort. There will be frameworks, we'll put breakout groups in there and actions that we'll take for each other. And then the last three sessions really are a combination of the final three pillars. So the third session, we'll actually talk about preparation. So we'll give you tools for planning, but we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about the proactivity and the perseverance at the end. The idea at the end of that is that you'll have some sort of route map or guidance or a blueprint, if you like, for what it is you want to do that will help you on your journey. Is there anything that I've missed, Nick?
Well, I'm just putting a bit of meat on the bones, just to clarify a few things. The size of the group itself, we haven't kind of limited it in terms of numbers, but we're trying to be realistic. We're going to limit the numbers at some point. We're gonna know when we're full, because we don't want to create a job for ourselves which suddenly becomes like full-time work. That's not what Andy and I want. Especially him, he goes off for 6 weeks at a time to New Zealand. So we want to be able to give the time to you, but also live our own lives as well. That's the flip side of it. We are going to limit the spaces on the one-to-one coaching, because if 10 people sign up for one-to-one coaching, that's 10 hours of coaching. That's quite a commitment. So we're going to limit that to 10. The sessions themselves, technically, they're going to be delivered live via Google Meets. That's what we're going to use. So they'll be, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can parachute in, join the session, and Andy and I will be there conducting the session as your guides, working through everything with you, working through the exercises that we give you in advance. So there are going to be 5 sessions in total. They're going to start on Wednesday the 14th and then run every week until June the 11th. And the idea behind each session is that we'll go deep into each of the 5 pillars. And think of it like having your guides there. You can ask them to review your work and review your plans, and that's what we're going to do. Obviously, if you sign up for the one-to-one coaching, it's going to be a much deeper relationship. Tools and frameworks, we're going to provide you with all that. There's a lot of exercises to do here, so this isn't something that you just parachute in, do 2 hours of videos, and then we don't be seen. We do expect you to do some work in between. To get it done. And I think that's it really. It's nothing much else to say about it, Andy. Have I forgotten anything?
I don't think so, no. So so the options we've got, there's 2 options. There's one which is for just the sessions, which we've talked about. I think at the end of it as well, what we're going to do is we're going to open up the cohort, and everybody who's been through that group, we will actually meet once a month where people can drop in.
Yeah, an alumni.
Yes.
A community of people who've gone through the program.
Yeah, so obviously as we go through this over time, we will introduce more and more people into it.
So just to clarify, Andy, what's the difference between these 2 options? All access pass and all access pass and coaching.
So the all access path is access to the materials that we've created and that we will use through the course, and attending each one of the sessions, each one of the 5 sessions.
And how long will a session last?
It will last about 2 hours. So we're planning in 2 hours. If it overruns a bit, that's fine. But we're sort of planning 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it lasting as long as the way I view these sessions is they'll last as long as they last.
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't be, there won't be 10 or 12-hour sessions, but I'm saying set aside a couple of hours. They will be recorded and available for future consumption. So you'll always have access to them. Go back over them. You'll always have that. And the idea behind the community at the end of the program is to stay in touch with people and to interact with other people that go through the program. Some people will go through this lightning fast. Others will take their time. Some will procrastinate. Some will probably will be very speedy. And it's a joint. The sessions are joint, Andy, aren't they? Just to clarify, we're both at the session.
Yes.
And it's interactive.
Yeah.
It's not like talk to the camera, take notes. It's an interactive session. We'll have breakout rooms. We'll break out and talk about stuff.
So each session will be reviewing the work that we've done, questions that have come up, and then there'll be a short bit where we'll just introduce what the work is for the next session. But most of it will be driven by the people there in terms of questions they've got, what the outputs are. We'll help step through how they work with the outputs they've got.
Yeah, absolutely. And the second option, Andy, what's the difference between the two?
Well, the second option you get between each one of the sessions, you get a coaching session. So there'll be 4 coaching sessions, which is one-on-one with either Nick or myself, depending on where we are through the process. That'll be for an hour. And that'll be a one-on-one coaching session that we will set up with you if you decide to go for that option.
Yeah.
And we've priced this very. This is our first pilot one, so we've priced it very competitively to begin with.
Yeah, well, we're going to be putting a minimum of 10 hours work each into this thing, and probably with the coaching. If you add the coaching in as well, we're going to be pushing on for at least 20 hours, probably more. Just on the coaching, just to clarify, Andy, we'll probably split the coaching between us. So you'll run one coaching session on a topic on one of the pillars. I'll run another coaching session on another one. Like you said earlier, I've got a bit more experience of the preparing and planning side of things.
Yeah.
The planning side of things.
Yeah.
You're a bit more touchy-feely, as I call it. So that this whole concept of feelings and knowing your why and your purpose and all this is very much your bag.
Yeah.
Again, getting back down to the fact you're a trained coach. So you'll be doing the one-to-one coaching sessions on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between the two options.
Yeah. And and as we go through it, if you have a preference for one of us, then that. But we are planning to share the coaching out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So any questions? So it's fine reflection. This really sort of. If you've got any questions or any reflections or any thoughts that please drop it in the chat. Thank you for being with us for nearly an hour so far.
Yeah, 40 odd minutes. So any questions? So do you have any questions? I guess some of the obvious, what if I'm already retired? What if I'm not sure? How much time does this take?
I think the thing we didn't say, Nick, is we have put up on the screen, obviously, how you join. So that's going to our website.
Yeah, if you go onto our website, whatnextexec.com, that will take you to the place which will describe the program in a bit more detail, and give you a link where you can join.
Yeah, so we're quite excited about this because it's helping people go through this process. Taken us a long time, and it's accelerating it. As we said, it's an accelerator, and it's giving you the tools that allow you to start that journey, to make the final chapter the best chapter that you can make it. To be honest.
Yeah, Trollduno says thanks for putting this there. He's going to check it out. I hope you do more than check it out. It'd be good to have you on the program. Magdalena, are you becoming YouTubers after climbing the corporate ladder and share so honestly your experience? Thank you. Oh, that's very kind of you, Magdalena. We do our best. I know in terms of my purpose, I'm wanting to inspire people and change a few lives. There are far too many lost, far too many people who are lost in Gen X and boomers. It's the Gen X and the boomers, basically. You know.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Magdalena. So any other questions, anybody, before we go?
We'll give it a couple of minutes and just see.
Yeah.
But looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the bottom line is that you kind of feel that in your life you've done the hard work. The hard work was the stuff you've been doing from early adulthood to now. That's the hard bit. This bit's supposed to be easier, you know, and so you know you've earned this. This is the time to really enjoy yourself. So you know, let's design it to the best one yet.
Yeah.
Right, doesn't look like we've got any questions, Andy.
No, there's another comment, I think.
Oh yeah, Andy.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. It does aim at people who have retired, but also people who want to retire soon. So one of the things that we've seen is that people who retire, they go through programs and they've got these plans. And when they get into retirement, all that help and support disappears, and they're sort of left, and they all go wrong because some of these steps they've missed out, or they haven't been very honest about themselves, or they haven't driven it in the way that they should. So, you know, that's where people feel lonely. So it is about how you get to that point, but this isn't about financial advice or how you get financially secure. That's down to you guys. It's about how do you become fulfilled in retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, who's this aimed at? Yes, it's aimed at people who will be retiring soon, but I think it's also aimed at people who've retired fairly recently.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's your definition of recent. I mean, I retired when I was 44. I could have done with the program when I was 44, but quite frankly, 10 years after retiring, I could have done with the program then because I was still lost. You know, so to my mind, it's rather than sort of pigeonholing it into a person, it's identifying the challenges that you're likely to face and helping you overcome them quickly, and helping you never get to them. Quite frankly, I mean, I wouldn't want any of you to experience some of the things I've experienced.
No.
So the whole idea is to get you to a point where you can whiz on and do what's right for you and good for you, whether that's full retirement, whether that's part-time work, whether that's launching a business, whatever it is. It's going to be a personal journey to you. But the point I want to emphasize is that journey is well nigh impossible on your own.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
okay, so if there aren't any other questions, we'll wrap up there, Andy, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you know, we hope to see some of you inside the Accelerator. Andy, one thing we forgot to mention is that we're now open. People can join as of now, and we're leaving the join link open for 7 days. It closes at midnight on the 14th, midnight British summertime, on the 14th of May.
Yes.
Is that 7th of May? Sorry, 7th of May.
7th of May. The program starts on the 14th.
Yeah, it closed. Enrollment closes on the midnight on Wednesday, the 7th of May. The program starts on the 14th. So we hope to see some of you inside the Accelerator.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you.